me, Anja. My pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new video. So today's video is a part 2 to my favorite books with Latinx main characters. So first of all, I will leave part 1 in the description box below if you haven't seen that video already. Second of all, if any of these main characters are actually not Latinx, then I'm incorrect in saying that they are Latinx, let me know. So anyway, the first book on this list is called Meet Cute Diary. I know I've talked about this book so many times, but I think that this is the last time that I will promote this book this year, which doesn't really say much since 2021 will end in 2 weeks. But anyway, if you didn't know, this book is a YA contemporary following a triracial transgender teenager whose idea of a perfect relationship is broken by his first one. This book is so good, and it's so fantastic, and it's absolutely so fluffy, and it's totally worth all the hype and so much more. First of all, like I mentioned, the main character is triracial and transgender, so this book has lots of great queer representation, so we love to see it. And he's also such a well-developed, distinct main character, and all the other characters are also well-developed and distinct. The writing of this book is so good, the plot is so intriguing, and it's so good. The romance is so fluffy, and it's so cute. I know I've overused the word good in this review, but this book is excellent and it's fantastic, and like I mentioned, this book is totally worth all its hype and so much more. I'm so excited for this author's next book next year. So anyway, with that said, I would highly recommend this book. The next book on this list is called Fat Chance Charlie Vega. This book is a YA contemporary following a young, brown, plus-size girl growing up in a white Connecticut suburb, so it's a coming-of-age type of story. This book is so good, and it's so fantastic. I heard nothing but great reviews prior to reading this book, and sometimes when I hear that from a book, the actual book doesn't live up to those high expectations, but this book definitely did, and I'm so glad that I did, because I really enjoyed it, and I'm so excited for this author's next book next year. This book is so fantastic, and it's so excellent. First of all, the writing is so engaging, the plot is so intriguing, the characters are so well developed and distinct, the romance was well developed and so fluffy and so cute, the plus size representation is so fantastic. I definitely understand why this book is so timely and so necessary for the plus size people of color audience that it serves towards. And also, this book is so fantastic, which I've repeated several times, because this book lives up to its hype, because it's so good, it's so engaging, and it's so well developed in every single aspect. The romance, the characters, the friendships, the plot, the world building, this book has it all. It's so good. So with that, I would highly recommend it, even though my review for this is kind of all over the place, but welcome to my channel. Anyway, I highly recommend this book. The next book on this list is called The Mural Season. First of all, there's a huge trigger warning on this book for sexual assault, because this book is a YA contemporary magical realism story following a pansexual girl who starts a cautious friendship with a boy after discovering that they were both sexually assaulted at the same party. This book is so good, and it's so fantastic. This book is one of my favorite 5-star books from this year, because first of all, there's nothing that I would change about the story, and second of all, it made me cry, which are the two main criteria for me rating a book 5 stars. If you didn't know, essentially, this book was awesome, and I loved it. First of all, the writing is so magical, and it's so lyrical, and it's absolutely so beautiful. After completing this book, I was encouraged to read the rest of this author's bibliography, because the writing is fantastic, and it's so pretty. Second of all, as a result, the world building is so immersive, and it's so intriguing, and it's absolutely so beautiful. The characters are so well developed and so distinct. The romance was so well developed and so cute and so awesome. This book is so worth all of its hype and so much more. Like I mentioned, there's a huge trigger warning on this book for sexual assault, so please be wary of that. But aside from that, this book is fantastic and it's awesome. I really loved it, so with that, I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Don't Leave the Comments. This book is a YA contemporary following 2 characters. One of them is a famous gamer, but she's also trying to help her struggling mom pay rent. and the other one is a boy who loves gaming, but his mother would rather him become a doctor. This book is so good, and it's so underrated, and for what? This author is literally so talented, and even though I was disappointed by his latest release, I would say that this book is so good. First of all, the two characters are both well-developed and distinct, and we love to see it. I love them both as individual characters as well as their dynamic together, because their romance and their friendship was so well-developed and really good. This author is so talented, and his writing is so good. The plot was so intriguing and so fast-paced and so thrilling. This book is so good, and it's so underrated, and it deserves so much more hype because it's absolutely so good. Like, the gaming elements of the story were so easy to visualize and clearly well researched because I was so intrigued. Every single element of the story is so good. I was so intrigued by every single step of the story because it's absolutely so fantastic. So anyway, this review was so all over the place, but the point is, this book is really good, and I would highly recommend it. The last book on this list, but certainly not the least, is called The Podex. This book is another YA contemporary, and it follows a young girl in Harlem who discovers slam poetry as a way to understand her own relationship in the world, as well as her religion. This book is fantastic, and it's so wonderful, and it's so amazing, and it's so awesome, and it absolutely deserves all the hype and so much more. This author is literally so talented, and I will read anything that she writes because she is a genius and she is a goddess, and the way that she crafts everything in this book particularly is so good. Her writing is so lyrical, and it's so beautiful. Her characters are so well developed, and they're so distinct. The plot is so intriguing, and it's so well developed. I was hooked from the story from the very beginning throughout the entire thing because this book is so good, and it's also so emotional, and it's so emotionally touching. This book has it all. It has a great, well-developed main character, a great, well-developed plot and world building and romance and friendships and everything. This book is so good. It's so fantastic, and it's so awesome, and with that I would highly recommend it. If you haven't read this book already or anything by this author at all, this book is her debut, but it does not read as a debut because it is so fantastic. So like I mentioned before, I would highly recommend this book. So, in conclusion, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if any of these main characters are actually not Latinx, let me know. Second of all, I will leave part 1 in the description box below if you haven't seen that video already. If you enjoyed this video, which I hope you did, please remember to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the snail emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. I'll see you in my next video.